This quadrant of the universe, in fact most of this universe, is controlled by the reptilians, and there's various different types of them. The reptilians are not the bad guys, as we've been led to believe. They are the most successful and intelligent species in the third dimensional realm. They are the ones who supplied the genetic engineering technology. This planet was terraformed by them. They created the atmosphere. They created all the planets. They created this. And millions of years, the dinosaurs ruled the planet. Huge numbers of variations because they were experimenting. The dinosaurs are either defensive dinosaurs or attack dinosaurs. So they're playing around with genetic engineering to make better versions of themselves. It was a living library for the dinosaurs. And I know some of this stuff, you might be thinking, what a load of crap, what are you talking about? But I'm just saying what I'm aware of.
Yeah. So would that be from the Serpent's constellation? The Ophiuchus, the third and first origin?
No, the ones that are in control of this are from Alpha Draconis.
Yeah, well that's, yeah.
Yeah. But that's not where they're from, because they're everywhere in the universe. Okay, but that's just like where they control this galaxy from. And they're extraordinary beings. Some of you channel other entities as well. I've become aware of them when I was about 13 years old, and they were around me all the time. And originally, I feared them, until I realised they were actually fearing me. They wanted to know what I was doing, and I'm thinking, why are you guys hanging around me? I'm just a kid. And that's when you start to think, no entity comes to you unless there's a reason for it. When people talk about, I'm going to offend some people here I know, and I'm more than happy to do it. How many people do sage to clear the air or anything like that? Anyone do that? Smudging? Smudging? Oh, somebody went to smudging and said, what are you doing? Oh, we're trying to clear you from bad energies and everything. I said, no, you're not. You're actually inviting them to come. They go, what? I said, come on, these guys, you reckon they're so powerful, they're multidimensional, they're all that. Yeah. And out of the whole universe to travel, you're thinking that they're going to come here to annoy me when they've got everything else to do? Have you ever considered the possibility that they may be coming here to give me a message? Oh, no, I haven't. So you keep pushing them away because you're scared of them. But they're on a mission and they're going to get their message through by hook or by crook. So the more you wave your sage, the stronger they're going to come to you. Oh, so why don't you try next time just welcoming them? Thanks for coming and doing that. Which they did, and then suddenly it all went away.
Do you think that some of them are working with universal law and some are working against universal law? Because I've actually seen these things many times.
Every single being is following purpose. There are no laws in the universe. There's one principle, and one principle alone. Consciousness with intent manifests. That's it. There's no laws. There's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. Everything is purpose-driven. Everything is purpose-driven. And what's the purpose? For the expansion of consciousness. You don't expand consciousness when good things happen. You fall into complacency. You fall into, I'm going to sit here and contemplate my navel. Really? How does that change the universe? It doesn't. Evolution of consciousness happens because of conflict and resolution. So the bad guys are playing the role in the movie to make the movie interesting. If there was no bad guys, the movie would be people going, oh, that's wonderful, that's love. And you wouldn't watch it, you'd be bored.
So this is a test.
Then, on this planet, all this genetic engineering, there's been no evolution on this planet. Have you ever looked at a kangaroo? Well, here's the thing. Look at a platypus. That's clearly genetic engineering because there's no precursors to it. And who would think to put a duck with a whatever? It's genetic engineering. Look at the skeleton and the structure of a velociraptor. and put it next to a kangaroo. They're the same, you've just added in some mammalian DNA. Everything's genetic engineering. They talk about the missing link. Well, I'll go into this in my books. The DNA for gibbons, chimpanzees, gorillas and orangutans. 44 and 48 chromosomes. What are we? 46. So they're trying to create a vehicle that is capable of doing, this is what the Anunnaki were doing, trying to create a vehicle, a slave race to mine the gold for them. So the first experiments at 46 create the Denisovans, the Neanderthals, Australopithecus, all of these were 46 DNA. We've been told the Neanderthals were stupid and that's why they died out. They had twice the brain capacity of us. Why do you think they were, I won't go and say died out, why do you think they were killed off? Too smart. Same with the Denisovans. The very first prototype, and you can read about this in the all of the history of ancient Egypt as well, and many other species, about the creation of the human race. The Bible has distorted all of that. Who wrote the first 5 chapters of the Bible?
Which version?
You told me, never heard of it. Deuteronomy and all those, anyone remember? Moses. Where did he learn everything? From the Egyptians. So if we have time, we'll go into who Moses really was, what happened, and the supposed Exodus. And then we'll get into a few other people that might make you go, cool. A genotype, a prototype was created. All of the indigenous races are so connected to the planet because they've been brought through that whole process, and they were the first prototypes that were created, and they were held in the body of Isis. They needed a womb. And guess what they created first? Men or women? Women. You need wombs as incubators for races. You can fertilise them pathogenically. There's many races on the planet that pathogenically reproduce. They can change sex, do whatever. So the first prototypes were all the indigenous races. There were blue skin ones, coffee skin, black skin, all of them. And guess what they did? They put them on different continents to see which ones would survive. If you were running an experiment, you wouldn't put them all together. You'd put them on separate continents to see which ones were the sturdiest, the hardest, which ones could be trained, which ones couldn't, which were too smart. And once they had their prototype sorted out, the next level of the plan, the mission comes in. Introduce the DNA from all the different star races into that one unit. Blue eyes, red hair, fair skin. These are all, when we see it, our Nordic beings. Oh, they're fair-haired and they're tall and they're light, they've got blue eyes and they've got red hair. Because that DNA has been introduced. You know when they talk about the fact that, oh, there's all this junk DNA? There's no junk DNA. It's exactly what it's meant to be. And then you've got other people saying, well, we're actually 12-stranded DNA. No, we're not. We're 2-stranded. We come from 12-stranded, but we're not 12-stranded. We're 2-stranded because we're prototypes, we're experiments. So all of the different star races are encapsulated inside each and every one of you. You literally are Frankenstein's monster. Because all of those different DNAs are fighting within you, and you project those fights onto somebody else or onto another race of people, which is exactly what happened in Lyra. That's what the human experiment is to. You have to sort that out as higher consciousness beings, because that will resolve the Lyran war.
So the mixing of the races is not very starting to mix.
Yep. So we're trying to get that. We can see where it's headed. People are now saying, I don't care what colour you are. I don't care what race you are. You know, we're all the one thing. We all bleed red blood and do all of this. But why are we coming to that? Because we needed a catalyst. We needed to be shown the darker aspects of the human consciousness, the darker aspects of all the races. Now, we talked about the Pleiadians before. Galactic Federation was set up by the Pleiadians. And they put themselves in the head positions of running everything, saying, guess what? We're Pleiadians. My shit doesn't smell. It's because I'm all light and love. And we're beautiful. And, you know, if you just do this. But why are they interfering? Because they know galactic law says you're not allowed to interfere. So why are they interfering? Because they're meant to be here, because they're the ones who've created the problem. And they're the ones who have to overcome it. And the way they do it is they put themselves up on a pedestal as if they're above everything. Everything's light and love. But no, light and love doesn't solve the problem. That's why you're here. All the other races are waiting for the Pleiadians to get their act together. Through what's being played out, through this whole cabal stuff that's going on. Now, all the stuff with the kids being harvested and Denochrome and all that sort of stuff, from a human perspective we go, oh my God, that's terrible, because that's what we're meant to feel. We're meant to be exposed to it. But every single child from a higher consciousness purpose has volunteered and sacrificed to come in so that we can have this experience. All of those children that we go, oh my God, that's terrible, are higher consciousnesses. Now, why are we all here? If other races are not allowed to come and be here, and we're star-seeded consciousnesses, how can we be here? You are allowed to incarnate into a human form because it contains the DNA of the star races. That's why you're allowed to come here. And you're allowed to come here to influence or to observe. And you'll work at different levels. You'll work, most of you won't work at the survival level. You'll be working up around here, trying to get us from power struggles. Okay, because think about all the power struggles that go into your life. Fighting about bills, fighting about this, the neighbour next door, da da da. Say no, we're all one. We're all connected by the air we breathe. Because if we can shift the consciousness up here, not to heart, but the fact that we're all connected by the air we breathe, then we can start to resolve this other issue, this galactic issue. And it's all, everything in this universe is the acceleration of consciousness. We all crave it, we all want it, and that's what Source wants. That's why the universe is expanding, because that's Source's purpose. That's why when it discovered itself, it became self-aware. It went, oh, what can I do next? Now that I know it's like a baby. If you watch a baby suddenly become aware of itself, suddenly it starts exploring its world. It wants to try new things and do new things. Source is the same. It wants to expand consciousness. And the only way it can do that is by creating conflict. Because that drives it. The most important thing in this universe is actually the reptilians. Because they're the ones who drive change. And the reptilians are on the breach. Most of you probably know the reptilians only can get up as high as 4th dimension because of what they do. The great serpent of the reptilians has been taken to the void and has seen the power that exists beyond the 4th dimension. They are now having a shift of consciousness. The reptilians are having a shift of consciousness.